Hey guys, it's Susan, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a heart-shaped wire ring. A lot of people think that making rings is really hard, but I'm going to show you guys how to make a really cute one that's really easy. It's going to be a heart-shaped, and we're going to do some little accents beads on it, and you guys are going to love it. Now, you're going to need a few tools, so let me talk you through what we've got here. I've got a chain nose plier and a flat nose plier. We're using a heavier gauge wire today, so I've got heavier tools. And then I'm also using a 6-step looper, which is good for making shapes with your wire in different sizes. And I have a flush cutter. And then I've also got a little set of hammers here. I'm going to need my chasing hammer, and I'm also going to need a rawhide hammer, a ring mandrel for sizing, and a bench block and a file. And then finally, I'm also going to use my wire rounder to round off the end because I'm going to be making a paddle today. And as far as tools are concerned, or supplies, I mean, you are going to need some 16 gauge wire. I'm using brass today. Also works great with copper or sterling, whatever you like. And I'm going to use some 26 gauge wire to put my little tiny accent beads on, and these are little 2mm round garnets. And if you like this video, don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified every week of our new videos. Okay, to get started making this ring, we're going to take some 16 gauge wire. I'm going to cut about 8 inches of wire with my flush cutter. And you can see how the wire is already on a curve, which is a good thing because we're going to kind of use that curve to help us get that heart shape started. What you want to do is you want to take your 6-step looper and you're going to work with the smallest bail. And you're going to grab it right in the center, and going the same direction as the curve, you're going to make a small little loop in the middle of your 16 gauge wire. So it kind of looks like a big M or some wings right now. And I've tried this a lot of different ways. I've tried to put my bail shaping plier right here and bring the heart down, but it tends to get a little bit of a mark right there that I don't like, and a little funny spot. So I found that the easiest way to do this is to hold it in the middle with my fingers and actually curve with my hand. So just very slowly and very gently bring that in on one side, and then do the same thing on the other side. See, I'm holding that middle piece and just pulling down and curving it as I go. And then just bring it in a little tighter, because also I found that if you make too big of a heart, it doesn't look really good as a ring. All right, so now there's one kind of coming across the top and one piece going the other direction. So I'm going to take this top one and I'm going to grab my flat nose plier, and I'm going to grab it right where it meets that other wire and bend it into an angle, almost a 90-degree angle there. See, just like that. And then I kind of gave myself a little bit too much wire on that side, but this should be plenty to make my ring base. So I should be good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to wrap it around those two wires. So grab with your flat nose plier, and see, I'm using heavier wire, and that's why I'm using this bigger flat nose plier. This is a Wubber and it's a great tool. And now I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to wrap it around underneath my heart, and I'm just stabilizing the heart while I do this with the flat nose plier. So you want to go 2 times around this. And I will tell you that 2 times is plenty because we're going to be making a U-shaped ring, and you don't want to have a lot of length with your wire right there. So now that that is finished, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my flush cutter and trim off the extra, and then take my flat nose plier and squeeze that down. Okay, so at that point I've got my heart ready. And this is the rest of the wire that's going to make the ring. And I like to do a little bit of dapping on the edges of the heart. So I'm just going to take my bench block and my chasing hammer and hammer that just a little bit, just to accent it. It looks a little prettier when you do it like this. There you go. So now, like I said, we're going to be making a U-shaped ring, and that is a little bit different than anything I've ever shown you guys. So essentially, I'm going to show you this one from the side so you can see what I mean. See how that looks like a U? It's not like a full circle. And the reason you do that is because that heart is gonna lay almost like a line across the top. Okay, before I do any bending or sizing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my flat nose plier and I'm gonna bend this wire straight down next to that coil I made. Just like so. Perfect. And then I'm gonna take my mandrel and I'm gonna go at the size 7 and I'm going to bend this wire around the ring. And I'm gonna hold it here for a second because I only want about a 1/4 inch of wire coming up above the edge of my heart. So while I hold it in place, I'm just gonna trim that wire. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to make a paddle here so I can close up my ring. And before I do that, I'm gonna use my wire rounder because if you wanna have a really nice, pretty rounded paddle, if you round the wire before you hammer it, it comes out a lot nicer. So we're just gonna take this. And this is just a little, almost like a cup burr that actually just has little files or little pieces on the inside that will actually file down or soften up the edges of your round wire. Okay, so now I can take my chasing hammer right here and see I've kind of twisted this to get that out of the heart out of the way. And make a paddle. And then I'll just feel it. That one looks pretty good. If you don't like it, you of course can always take your flat file and round it out just a little bit more. And then next step is to close up our ring. So I'm gonna open this up just a little bit so that I can pop that inside one piece of the ring, like so. So there, that is that. And I like to put it on this side of the heart. That's just me though. Don't ever feel like you can't put it over there if you want to. I like it like that. All right, so now I'm gonna take my chain nose plier to do this next part. I'm gonna grab the tip of this paddle and I'm gonna bend this over the edge of the ring and down until it touches on the other side. Like so. And then I'm gonna put it back on my ring mandrel and I'm going to take my my rawhide mallet there and just round that out a little bit more in case I got it a little bit wonky while I was working with it. So see how that looks really pretty right there. And then I'm gonna wanna push that down just a little bit more. Here I've got this one where I did it just a little bit tighter right there. So now what I want to do is I want to take one of these guys and I want to put a little accent in the center because I think it looks cute to put little beads in the center. And you can't do a lot because it's not a very big ring, but I've got that cute little space right there. And I like these little 2mm faceted round gemstone beads. These are garnets. And so you're just going to put 3 of them, like little berries, on your 26 gauge wire and push it down through the center of the heart. And I think this would be really fun to do as almost a birthstone ring. You could do, like these are garnets, so this is January's birthstone, but you could do peridot, which is August's birthstone. You could do like a crystal clear color, which you could do like pretend like they're diamonds for April. All right, so what you're gonna do is just pop those guys in there and then take that 26 gauge wire and wrap it around the heart right up here where it crisscrosses. So I'm just gonna take this guy and go around. And I use 26 gauge wire because it's just not, it doesn't show up very much. And I just want really for you to see those little beads, not necessarily for you to see the wire. So 2 wraps on that side. I'm gonna give it a little twist so my beads stay together, like so. See how I did that? So it makes almost like a little clover. And then when I pull this down, they won't pop back through. And then I'll place them once I get my wire on. So I'm just gonna wrap 2 times with my 26 gauge wire. And then I'm just trimming off underneath. Take my chain nose plier and press that in. And then I'm going to take these little guys and turn them and just place them where I want them, just like that. So see? Super cute. So I hope you guys liked learning how to make a heart-shaped wire ring. I thought it was lots of fun. Let's go back through all these tools and supplies. Make sure you're ready to get started. You're going to need some 16 gauge wire and also some 26 gauge wire to make the base of the heart and accent it. And you'll need 3 little accent beads. I use 2mm round garnets, but you can use any stone you want to, or you don't have to accent it at all. You're also going to need some tools. I used a flat nose plier, a little heavier flat nose plier, and a little heavier chain nose plier because we're working with that 16 gauge wire, and a flush cutter, and a bail shaping plier. This is a 6-step bail shaping plier. As far as hammers are concerned, I just used my handy chasing hammer and my rawhide mallet, a ring mandrel to size our ring, and a bench block. Almost always have to have this for hammering with wire. And I did use a little bit of my flat file and of course my wire rounder. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys would like to pick up some supplies like the ones we work with today, check out the links down below. What's your birthstone? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell, and we'll see you again next time.